Let's dive into Lulu's training so that we can stay consistent at home. So, whenever she's offering a behavior that we want to keep on seeing, whether that's being polite, calm, or following a command, we want to make sure we're rewarding with praise, petting, or treats. And then, if she's offering a behavior that we don't want to see, whether that's being rude or breaking a command, we want to make sure we're following through with our training equipment right here. So, first we have our prong collar. This is going to be on her whenever she has that leash on. At first, you might have her leash on in the house just so that we can set those boundaries a little bit easier. To put it on and off, what you'll do is you'll secure one of those links right there and then slide those two prongs up. And then you'll grab those two loops, pinch, and wiggle them free. And then to put it back, what you'll do is you'll line those two prongs back up with those two loops, gently pinch and squeeze them back through. And then the leash itself will attach to this swiveling D-ring right here at the top of the collar. To communicate with her, say she's offering that unwanted behavior, what you'll do is you'll mark it with no, follow through with a pop of that leash, and then continue on with that command. And then this right here is her remote collar. To turn it on and off, what you'll do is you'll line those two little red dots up with each other and touch them together. And then once that color turns green, that means it's on. The remote itself, there's an on and off button on the back. What you'll do is you'll press and hold until that screen turns blue. And then that 30 on that screen is her working level. This works in a similar way. So say she's offering that unwanted behavior, what you'll do is you'll mark that behavior with no, and then you'll follow through by pressing that black S button. So no, black S button, and then continuing on that command. Alrighty, and then let's dive into some of her commands. So first, we have our heel command. Heel is that nice loose leash walking on our left-hand side. Whenever she is in this position, we want to make sure that we're reinforcing it with treats, petting, or praise so that she knows that's exactly where we want her to be. If she's offering any funky behaviors like pulling ahead of us, jumping to the side, being a little mouthy, anything like that, we want to make sure we're following through with our training equipment right here so that we can communicate that effectively with her. That could either be her prong collar, remote collar, or both depending on the situation. Usually during a walk, we'll only hover in that heel position 90 or 80% of the time. The other 10 or 20% will have her in a free. And free just means she's free out of any command that she's in. So that means she's good to go sniff, do her business, and do as she pleases, but she's still not allowed to be rude. And then if it is from the heel command, we want to make sure that we're still having that nice loose leash. So instead of her following us around, we're following her around. And then next we have our sit. Sit is great for door manners or greeting people. It also has an implied stay, so once she's in that sit position, she's not allowed to get up until we either tell her free or heel. And then if she does break from her sit position, we want to make sure that we're going back through whatever situation made her break that sit and doing it again until she gets it right. Down works the same way, so once she's in that down, she's not allowed to get up until we tell her free or heel. And once again, if she does get up from that down, we want to make sure we're going back and readdressing that issue until she stays in that position, and then she's good to be freed. And then next, we have place. Place is a great command for if you're having people over, making dinner, anything like that, so she's not getting in the way or offering any unwanted behaviors. Instead, she's hanging out on her own little space, free to do as she wants as long as she stays on that elevated bed. And then, whenever we free her from this position, we want to make sure we're going all the way back to her. So if we're in the kitchen and we want to free her, we have to go all the way back to her every time. That way she's not learning that she can be freed from across the room and she's more likely to stay on that place bed. And then next we have recall, or come when called. To practice this one at first, I definitely recommend starting with her on a leash. That can either be like a 15 or 30-foot leash. And then whenever she gets distracted, nice and loud, we want to tell her to come. And if she doesn't, we want to make sure we're following through with our prong collar, remote collar, or both, depending on if we have that leash on her or not. But still following through so that we can get that recall every single time. And then every time that she comes back to us, we still want to reward her so that we can create that reward history and kind of encourage her to come back to us more often than not. And then last, we have leave it. So for leave it, we want to make sure that when we start practicing this, we practice with a dog-safe toy or treat, so in case she does end up getting it, it's not the end of the world. And also practicing this one with a leash on at first as well so that we can develop these boundaries. So how this one works is you'll toss that treat or toy or whatever, and then you'll say, leave it. And then once she sits and looks at you, you can tell her free. And then when she's good to get that treat or toy, okay. And then if it's something that she's still not allowed to have, we want to make sure that we're still keeping on top of it and keeping an eye on her until we're able to go pick up that item. And then from here, we're all ready to stay consistent, have fun, and watch Lulu do her commands. Leave it. Good girl. Free. Okay. Leave it. Good girl. Free. Okay. Good girl. Free. Oh, leave it. Good girl. Free. Okay. Baby's going on. Let's go over some of the other features of our remote collar. So to turn it on or off, what you'll do is you'll touch those two little red dots together. If it flashes red, that means it's off. If it flashes green, that means the collar is on. To turn the remote on, what you'll do is you'll press and hold until it either turns off, or to turn it on, you'll press and hold and the screen will turn on blue. The level that displays on the screen is their working level. As they grow up, you might need to adjust this level for them. It could either go up or it could go down, kind of just depends on their need. To adjust it, what you'll do is you'll press and hold this knob at the top until it starts to flash. And then you can adjust as needed. And then whenever you're ready to set it, you just press and hold again. And then when it's solid, that means it's set. On the side right here, you'll have that black S button. S just stands for stimulating. So all this does is stimulates the muscles on the side of their neck. And then the red will jump that level up 25. So this is great for emergencies. Say your dog's running out the road or chasing an animal and might be heading into a dangerous situation. That's when you would use this red S button. It'll catch their attention a lot better than the black S button. It's great for when their adrenaline's a lot higher. And then the other side is that black T button. This just makes it vibrate. So this is great to use if you don't know if you turn the collar on or off or not. So just press it, it'll vibrate the collar. On the back right here, there is a light feature. So this is great for if it's dark, you're camping, or anything like that. So if you press it once, it will make that collar flash. If you press it again, it just has that light steady on. And then if you press it a third time, it turns off. Next to that button, you'll see M/C. M just means momentary and C is continuous. So when we introduce this collar, we introduce it in a positive way with the continuous stimulation. That way we can introduce it positively and it's not a scary thing for them at all. Now that they're further in their training, we have them on momentary. So no matter how long you press and hold this button, it'll just do the one little stimulus and then it'll go away. We don't recommend changing this button at all. It's perfectly fine just on momentary. And then inside your box, you'll have these two little prongs. So these are a little bit longer than the ones that are on the collar right now. If for whatever reason you don't think it's reaching them quite right, you can always switch out to the longer prongs, but we haven't noticed any issues with the shorter ones. And then you'll also have that charging cord. So that charge cord has a spot for both the collar and the remote itself, so it makes it nice and easy to charge. The charging port on the collar is in between those two prongs right there, and then on the remote, it's on the bottom right here. And then underneath this tray, you'll have the user manual. And then this remote collar also has a 2-year warranty. So if you run into any issues, definitely reach out to the company and they should be able to get that fixed and sorted for you. And then it is waterproof. So if your dog's playing in water, that's perfectly fine. But if they're going to stay wet for a longer amount of time, we definitely recommend just rotating which position it's on. That way it's not irritating their neck at all. And then other than that, we might want to make sure that we have this collar on first thing in the morning when we wake up and we take it off at bedtime. Usually, if you have it on for a full 12 or 14-hour day, it'll stay charged for 2 days. So we definitely recommend charging it every other day or so. But if you're not able to have eyes on them, definitely take it off. That way, they're not getting it stuck in anything like that. But other than that, you guys are all set to have fun, stay consistent, and work with your dogs.